Hey, what's up guys? This is Anthony from Anthony's Customs, and for this review we are looking at the Marvel Legends Grim Reaper figure. This is the first figure in the Marvel Legends line that has this new body mold, so I'm going to talk about the mold itself at some point in this video, and then the figure as its own figure, of course, at some other point. He is part of the Ultron wave of Legends, so if you need to pre-order those and don't feel like hunting them down and tracking them and going all over the place, click the link in the description below. You can pre-order them at Big Bad Toy Store and save yourself all of that hassle. So let's look at this guy. So a new body mold, let's see how tall it is. Of course the heads may vary and if they change the boots and stuff like that, but he's about 6.5 inches tall, which puts him at just shy of 17 centimeters. And it looks a lot like the Bucky Cap mold, just kind of buffed up a little bit, slightly thicker, slightly taller. In fact, there's the Bucky Cap mold right there. So you can see, obviously it's not the same thing. Very close to the same stature. I think I still prefer the general look of the Bucky Cap mold, but this one, it seems to be a pretty solid mold. Let's talk about the figure as the Grim Reaper first, then we'll talk about the mold afterwards. So it obviously has a nice new head sculpt, and the sculpt is pretty good. I think it looks really nice. It has that really menacing looking teeth showing grin. The furrowed brow looks good. Even the ear spoilers, whatever those are called, look good. Problem with the head is the paint. Now, you guys know I don't read comics, so I'm not always familiar with these characters that aren't the most common or most popular. I looked everywhere, and none of the drawings of this particular version of Grim Reaper have anything but a normal looking human face. And his skin tone is like grayish, yellowish green. And so it looks really weird on the figure. And then his eyes have an orange line going around them with yellow, what's the white part called of the eye? I don't know what it's called. The yellow part, or the white part's yellow, and then the entire pupil and iris situation is neon green. I couldn't find anything that even looked remotely close to that other than a completely different version of Grim Reaper. So if anybody can shed some light on that to me other than saying that it's just horribly inaccurate, please do. I'd be happy to know. But as it is, it looks a little weird. The sculpt on his chest, it looks pretty undersized. Even the Marvel Universe one comes down across here, and all the images I found had the skull basically taking up the top half of the chest and then the crossbones down here. Maybe not quite so big, but as far as line work goes, it's good, but it's missing some paint. Maybe it won't show up on camera, I don't know, but there's a lot of the bluish black coming through. Not bad though, it'll look good at, you know, kind of first glance type of thing on a shelf, so that's okay. The figure itself is almost entirely this molded dark blue. We have some silver paint on the arm, but it needs another coat because it's kind of fuzzy everywhere and you can see through it in some places. It's a nice kind of a gunmetal though, so I like that. This hand is painted the same. Of course, it's sculpted a little bit differently. So we have the scythe going on here, or the sickle, whatever you want to call that. It's pretty flimsy though, so it's going to definitely need some hair dryer or some hot water to get that back into shape. Good thing about it is, and I haven't quite settled on this or not, it looks like it's two tones of silver. That this is one color and then the blade is another. But then in some angles it looks like it's the same color, so I'm not sure. Either way, it looks kind of good. The problem is, like I said, it's super flimsy, but they molded the R right in a very obvious place. It should be on the inside of the part that you can't see. That's just laziness and something that should have been fixed, I think. Again, though, with a little bit of hot water or hot air, you should be able to straighten it out. And it looks decent. It's definitely not bad, so that's good. And then that's it. There's no other details on the body. This guy is like the epitome of a blank body other than this hand. So I'm actually looking forward to it because I like this body for the most part, and it'll make for good customs. One last unique thing is the cape, which the sculpt work for the cape, like the flowing cloth, looks pretty good, and they did do some airbrush style shading on there, so that's nice. It pegs in and it actually droops over his neck properly. Doesn't stick out too bad like the Odin cape. You know, it's not perfect, but it's fine. The only problem I have with it is that it's super narrow up here, and a lot of the drawings of this guy give him almost like a Magneto billowy cape. Not like super billowy like Magneto, but it goes over the shoulders at least. And this one's really, really narrow at the top and looks good at the bottom though. It's just, I don't know, it lacks a little bit of that panache that I think a bigger cape would have given him. Still pretty cool looking figure overall. I guess it's alright. Not going to hurt to pick it up. Could be a little bit better, I think, at the price point, but it's not bad, so I do recommend it. Now, if you're curious, let's go through the articulation, and I can talk about this new mold as we do that for the sculpt work. So the articulation for the head, it has the disc in it, so you get the ball peg on top of the disc, so that will be good. They'll do lots of head swapping on this, save themselves some money. does look like the head maybe sits a little high. Maybe, I'm not entirely sure, but it might just be this head. So like another head might sit a little bit lower and be okay. So that's okay with me. The shoulders are kind of like the standard Marvel Legends shoulders, but they're a lot closer to the DCUC style in that they have the ball with the peg area off to the side a little bit, kind of offset to let the arms come down a little bit farther like that. So that's kind of a good thing. As far as the range of motion goes, same problem as DCUC though. Because of that little bit that sticks out, we can't bring them up quite as far. We get the full swivel here all the way around. Still can't bring the arms out as far as I would like. It hits. So it looks good, but it doesn't have the range of motion that we would generally want in a Marvel Legends figure. Bicep swivel, it's good, but it's just like the DCUCs, the big triceps get in the way. They bump up against the shoulder itself, so it's going to be kind of forcing that. So if there's paint in there, it's going to be a little bit of a problem. Double jointed elbows, just fine. Wrist swivel, wrist hinge. He's got a gripping hand on this side with fingernails. So I'm not sure what other figures they're using this for. I think maybe Craven. So maybe that's a Craven hand that's just been painted blue. I don't know. Ab crunch, clicks forward one notch. Doesn't really click, but it kind of has a notch going back one. And you can see the abs are sculpted all the way up top. I like the musculature in the chest. It's got that more organic look to it. The abs are really big. They take up a lot of space. I think he should have like narrower abs with some obliques going on down the sides. But it's not bad. You know, it's not one of those things that's a deal breaker. But I think it could be a little better. The backs to me on almost all these Legends look a little weird. They're so round looking. I don't know. This part should be kind of sticking out more, and then the shoulder blades and the muscle. I don't know. It looks a little odd, but it's the back, so it's not a huge deal. The shoulders are still a little bit too far forward, but definitely not so bad that it'll be a problem. Nothing like Hyperion, so that's a good thing. We don't have that big shelf on the chest again, so that's a good thing. Waist twist is pretty standard. The hips, we can bring the legs all the way forward, slightly angled, but still not bad at all. We can bring them out a little bit to the sides. They, I think, need to work on the hips a bit just to give us a little bit more, you know, versatility. He doesn't have the best range of motion. We do have the thigh swivel though, so that's good. Double jointed knees, that's good. It's basically just a kind of an enlarged Bucky cap. We have a shin swivel, ankle hinge, works pretty well. Ankle rocker, again, it's basically just Bucky cap as far as articulation goes. But by and large, I really do like this mold. I wish the chest was maybe a little broader and then the shoulders wouldn't have to have that kind of protruded shape on the outside, but still really nice musculature, pretty happy with it overall. I'm a little excited to use it for customs, not this particular one, but at some point. You can tell that these were maybe not the original lower legs down here from this joint down because the lines don't quite line up. And he still does have kind of fat ankles, but it's not a huge deal. So I do like the mold, and I think this figure is definitely one that you might want to add to your collection. It's not great, but it's definitely good enough. So there it is, guys. Thanks for watching. Make sure you subscribe to the channel so you can see my upcoming figure reviews, custom figures, and other good stuff. And in the meantime, keep collecting.